What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 16 of Feed the Beast Interactions. Now, this episode, I want to get into applied energistics. I really do. And also start setting up some infrastructure. I've built a bit more over here. Still like a little bit temporary because I haven't got things set up properly, but this is going to be a blast furnace room for now. It might become just passive things in general. We'll see how much we actually need. And then I'm just going to put like normal machines down here and requested crafting and stuff. So first of all, I want to get this blast furnace online, and I gave this a HV energy hatch. So in order to do that, we are going to need a HVCU, a HVCEF, and at least one diesel generator. So let's start with the diesel generator. So for this turbo diesel generator, we are going to need a bunch of high voltage parts. So we're going to need 2 stainless steel gears. We have the motors. We have the gold cable. We will have to get some more processor assemblies, although I think I can steal one from a quest for now. And then for the pistons this tier, it's all stainless steel. Right then, so first of all we need the pistons. And we'll just grab those for the quest. And then I think we should have everything to make this. What are we missing? Oh. There we go. There is our first turbo diesel generator. And first of all we'll make CU. Let's go for 9 slot for now. So we're going to need a bunch of gold wire for this. And some red alloy cable. And there's everything for our CU. And then we also need a matching CEF. We'll just do 4 slots for this time because of where we're going to put it. So for this we're going to need the red alloy cable again and aluminium wire, or aluminum wire. This is the wrong one. We're going to make this one. We need 4x gold wire and 4x red alloy cable. And that should be everything for the CEF. I'll take those. I'll grab the CEF for now. And the reason we're only doing a 4 slot CEF is because I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to hook this up to the power here. And we will hook it directly up to the power. And we'll give it this spectre coil. So this should provide power for this. I might need to put batteries in it. I'm not entirely sure. But then downstairs, probably somewhere around here with the rest of our stuff, we're going to basically build diesel engines and I'm not entirely sure which side the energy comes out of and goes in. But when we've got wires, we'll make this a tower. And we'll have 8 diesel engines feeding into one CEU, which will push into the Spectre network. And if I just grab a little bit of diesel so we can get this working and test it out. So now put that in. That is not outputting to the CEU. Does this need to be this way? Yeah, there we go. So now this diesel engine is powering this CEU, which is pushing energy into the Spectre injector. So this is just 1 amp's worth of high voltage at the moment. And then up here, we're just taking out, again, high voltage power and pushing it straight into the blast furnace. And for this particular blast furnace and the one that I'm going to wall share with will be nitrogen, and then I'll have 2 more for oxygen. I'm just going to do them in pairs, I think, so that they can share a input hatch for fluids, and we'll just give them nitrogen. And then now I can use this to produce signalum, which we will need destabilized redstone, copper dust, and sterling silver, which is just silver and copper. It's all really easy. And there we have our signalum. It's pretty quick at HV. Oh, okay. So it's purely that this Spectre coil can't provide enough power. So what is... It shouldn't need to provide all 4, but I think it needs to provide 2 amps. That should be 2 amps. No, wait, 2 amps would be 2048. It's times 4, right? Yeah. No, 1 amp would be 2048. Yeah, I've very much misjudged which Spectre coils we need. But thankfully, I don't think these are particularly difficult to upgrade. These are really easy. We've made these a bunch of times. These are just a circuit and these microchips. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit of microcrafting, but it's nothing too complicated. Okay, and here is our upgraded Spectre coil. This one provides actually exactly 2 amps, I believe. So yeah, there we go. That's better. Now this is running. It's nice and fast. How are we looking for diesel consumption using this much? Not super fast. We've gone through about a bucket already. Okay, so I've made up a high voltage mixer and just another CEF. It's got some batteries in it to keep it charged up. And we are ready to make our first stellar alloy. So for that, we're going to need energized glowstone, infinity dust, stardust, fluix dust, and crushed wax quartz. So while I was making all of this up, I made some fluix cable up as well. It's just quartz fiber, fluix powder, polyethylene, and the quartz fibers, certs quartz rods and glass. And the fluix quartz is made a little differently in this pack. It's just certs quartz, nether quartz, and redstone and water in a mixer. It's pretty much the same, it's just a little bit different. Here's our stellar alloy from the smelter. This is this quest. I'm not sure what these are used for, but I guess I'll grab this stuff. Next up, we have to make the ME controller. So first of all, we need these miniaturization field projectors. And then we need skystone, cable. I'm assuming the fluix cable I've got will be fine for this. Crafting monitors. Requires circuits. Requires hydrochloric acid. It's a whole rabbit hole to craft this, as well as a block of stellar alloy. Need energy cells. These all require batteries. A lot of it isn't too bad. We're going to need to get some hydrochloric acid. And I guess first of all, we're going to need a skystone lens. And we just cut up a block of skystone to get that. So that's nothing too bad. Right, I think I have everything set up for the ME controller. It wasn't anything too difficult. It was just lots of part crafting, basically. Now, assuming that I've built this right. Hang on. Should just need to throw one of these engineering processes in. Let's throw this in and see if it works. Apparently I've probably done something wrong. So in typical dumb me fashion, I'd actually just put the energy cell and the energy acceptor the wrong way around. Thankfully I didn't have to make smart cable because this requires PTFE. And I do not have PTFE yet. Polytetrafluoroethylene. I have to make this soon, but now that this is ready, throw that in there. Oh, gave us the cables back. Nice bit. And there we go. There's our ME controller. And now we can make a crafting terminal, which we just needed to make an ME terminal for, which was pretty easy. We made these up already for the... I made some extra of these when I made them for the controller. And there's our crafting terminal. Next up, we will make our ME drive. It's all stuff that we've used before. There we go. And now all that's left to finish off our very basic ME system is just some storage cells. We take this first one, then we can get completed cell from a quest. We just take these components and it's just quartz, glass, redstone and iron. It's pretty simple. But now if we put this into here, we can now begin storing items digitally, which is something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. Now we're still very limited, especially because of these cables. These only have 8 channels each. And each item we connect to the network takes a channel. So this crafting terminal is taking a channel. The ME drive block, not each individual disk, but the block takes a channel. So we're using 2 channels on this wire already, and there's only 6 left. And anytime we insert or import or export anything from a machine, that's also going to cost us channels. So we're very limited until we do PTFE on how much we can actually automate with this. We can make the import and export buses reasonably easily though. So we can bring things in and out of the system. We just need to be very limited, probably to these 8 channels for now. I've seen a little bit of research. PTFE actually really isn't that difficult to make. So rather than using a ghetto applied energistics system, we're just going to make some PTFE. Now, there is this chart provided by Turtle, a machine that's in the Feed the Beast Discord, that shows how to make PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene. And it turns out we actually have most of this already, which is what made me decide to do this. So we have a mineral tree farm, and we're already centrifuging the chunks, and we're using the resin for diesel production. So why not use the methane for this branch of the chloroform? We have the thermal evaporation tower. We just need to automate this. Well, this part, it shouldn't be difficult. And then we have chlorine and hydrogen, which satisfies this part. So the only thing that we actually need to make this tetrafluoroethylene is fluorine, and we can make that from fluorine enriched eggs. So in order to make the fluorine chicken, we just need some fluorine, of course, 16 biotite, infinity reagent, and morphic resonator. Now, the biotite comes from electrolyzing black granite dust. And if you're playing through this pack yourself, rather than going out and searching for black granite to crush down, actually on the last page, you see that you can use normal granite, and you can just pull this out of the EMC table. So it's actually really easy. And then you can also electrolyze some of this to get the fluorine. And obviously we already have the smart chicken. So the infinity reagent is graphite, medium covalence dust, obsidian dust, infinity dust, and simple power catalyst in the Starlight Crafting Altar. Again, really simple. We've got all of that stuff. The morphic resonator, glass panes, brass plates, and then rare earths. Rare earths is the only thing that we don't have for this whole recipe. And it's really easy to get, because we can just take some crushed coal ore and autoclave it with some unstable mana. Yeah, I might use crushed redstone. We just have to run some of this through until we get some rare earths to make our morphic resonator. And then we'll have everything we need for the chicken. And then we can just centrifuge the eggs. It's a real quick craft. And we get fluorine and tiny piles of calcium. And this should be everything for our fluorine chickens, I believe. There we go. And I'll have to breed these up to 10, 10, 10 as well. So I just handmade some tetrafluoroethylene, and we'll just mix this with oxygen so that we get polytetrafluoroethylene. And the main reason I want this is just to make dense cables. It'll make it so much easier to move channels about. If we have enough left over after making plenty of dense cable, then we might look at making some P2Ps as well. But just being able to move 32 channels across the base and also just lay permanent wiring rather than temporary wiring under the floors will be really nice. So first we've made our coated cables. It's just the glass cables and the polytetrafluoroethylene. Now we can either make smart cable by using redstone and glowstone, or we can first make the dense covered cable and then just use the same amount of redstone and glowstone to make dense smart cable, which you can also craft, I think, back down into smart cable anyway. There's definitely the better way to do it. So now we have the PTFE and access to this dense smart cable and also to P2P tunnels. What we will do is we've got these 7 controllers as a quest rewards for making this one, is we will attach basically a P2P network to P2P tunnel to every single side of the controller here, except for one which will need power. And then we'll eventually run 32 channels from this controller to this controller. And each of these 32 channels that are on this cable will have another 32 channels on them, which is 1,024 channels, I think, if I'm correct. And we'll be able to access those anywhere in the base as long as it's connected to this dense smart cable. Just by putting another P2P tunnel on, and we'll be able to access any one of the sides that we're connecting to, which will give us more than enough channels to do anything that we want to do, hopefully. So, although we can't start auto-crafting until we've got a nether star from killing the wither, we can still set up a lot of passive systems just to give us access to all the resources we need. We're going to build a system that takes ore, multiplies it up as much as possible, and processes it all into its final results and provides it to the network. We're going to set up a wall of, similar to what I've done here. This will be a line of basically chicken products that will all just be passively provided to the ME network, so that we can always access things like fluorine whenever we need it. So now it's basically time to move away from these like little small systems and build a really robust network that allows us to produce all the resources that we've produced so far in much greater quantities. So I'm, for one, am very sick of having to manually craft everything all the time. I probably should have used the logistics pipes more, but I really didn't like the way that they handle fluids. And I'm not a huge fan of the way that they handle crafting either. And it will be really nice once all of our resources are connected to the Blood Energistics system, and we don't need to wait for the travel time of everything. I think I'm going to end the episode here for today. It's a bit of a shorter episode, but we actually got quite a lot done getting everything set up for Blood Energistics and also PTFE. Now, between episodes, I'm going to start setting up passive systems for everything. I don't really want to go through all the stuff that we've set up before on video, so I'll try and do that between episodes. I'm not entirely sure yet what we're going to do next episode. We do need to move on to epoxy soon, but this is quite complicated still, and I'm definitely not comfortable setting this up with the systems that we already have, so we're going to need to do oil processing to a higher degree than we already are. Whether or not we move on to epoxy next will depend a lot on how the systems we set up with Applied Energistics are, and whether we're able to produce enough resources that things aren't so much of a problem. Because producing high voltage machines at the moment is still really expensive with these processor assemblies. It'll be much cheaper once we can make these nano processors, but they do require the epoxy circuit boards. Kind of a bit of a 50-50, you know, you either use more resources to make the circuits to set up the high voltage machines to do things like ore processing, because you don't really want to do them below high voltage because you don't get a lot of the secondary outputs. Or do we try to make the high voltage machines cheaper by doing epoxy, but it's going to be a really poor system and we're going to have to redo it. So we'll see how everything looks once we've got all the passives set up in Applied Energistics. Thanks for watching today, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed. Feel free to leave me any feedback on anything down in the comments. I am also slowly working on finishing off the base a bit better. I'm kind of sick of having a half-finished base. But hopefully I'll see you next time. And see ya.